everyone, it's Ross here at Teacher Toolkit. I hope you're well. Welcome to today's live stream where we're going to talk about the use of mobile phones in schools and how schools are already starting to reduce distractions and improve student mental health. The QR code that you can see there on the slides will take you to a landing page where I'm going to give you the benefit of a demo kit and some discounts and things like that. And I've got two very important people here I'm going to introduce to you shortly and talk about how they're using LockerSpace signal blocking pouches in their schools to improve student outcomes. Before I do, this is your chance to just say hello in the chat box. And I'm going to give you an opportunity for you to give your town, village, city, wherever you are. And I know there'll be a lot of people watching internationally, so tell me where you are watching from, and I'll give you or your school a shout out to all the channels. So we're broadcasting here on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, and on YouTube, and I will do that shortly. So let me just give you a pitch first of all. So we think about how schools reduce mobile phones and distractions. We know they're the biggest distraction for our young people today. And there is clear evidence that it reduces student focus, lowers academic achievement, and in some spaces increases bullying. Now, the brilliant company LockerSpace offers a robust solution to help schools reclaim the teaching and learning environment. And, you know, what's to argue with this? Research to back it up suggests that students who use their phones in school perform worse academically. And I'm going to show you a piece of research to back this up, losing 6 places academically for every 100 minutes they spend using their phone. So students have constant access. We know it leads to shorter attention span, more social isolation, increased cyberbullying, and lower academic achievement. And schools that are taking this action who struggle to enforce phone-free policies, and we've all got a mobile phone policy of some kind, are now doing so without causing much conflict. We know confiscation of mobile phones can lead to negative interactions and a huge workload on the part of the teacher, and lots of emotional issues also with parents and students when that conflict begins. And where maybe an inconsistent approach is there, LockerSpace again provides a simple and effective solution. I've got a device on my desk. I'm going to show you how it works here. It gets a big thumbs up from me. So before I do, let me get the screen off here. Any comments in the chat box? You're watching. I can see a good couple of hundred people already connected. So give me a shout out. Where are you watching from? Don't be shy, and I will say hello to you online. While you're doing that, everybody, I'm going to bring in my two special guests. Dave Norton is the founder and director of LockerSpace, and Jamie Howard is an assistant principal in a school in South Buckinghamshire. So let me bring both gentlemen in. Here we go. Hello, Dave. And
hi,
hello,
good evening.
Jamie. How are you
Ross,
both?
Good evening. Yeah, good. How are you?
Great. Thank you for joining me. Jamie, can I start with you? Can you just give everyone your background, where you're teaching, and we'll come to LockerSpace in a moment. Just give us a little bit of flavour of yourself.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. Thanks for joining. I'm sure you're in a very similar situation that I was in 12 to 14 months ago, where exactly what Ross said, we had these issues in school, and I looked at different solutions and different things to try and resolve this. And I'm sure you've done the simple solution of, right, guys, no phones in school. If we see them, we'll take them. We did that. It didn't work. I looked at various competitors, and we decided to go on to the approach, which we'll come on to shortly with Dave and LockerSpace. Our school is the Chalfants Community College. So we're a comprehensive secondary school in a grammar school area, a wide range of students with different needs, some top ability, a larger amount of SEN coming through, tied to what I believe is phone usage. So, yeah.
Give us a sense of the number of students you've got and how many.
Yeah, we've got 1,200 students, approximately 80 to 100 teachers in our school.
It's a busy working day for you, for sure.
Quite busy.
And we'll come to the kind of nuance of parental support and things like that and how it's shifted since you've started using LockerSpace, Jamie, in a moment. Thanks for joining us. Dave, could you give us a flavour of who you are and what you do day to day?
Hi, yes, I'm one of the joint owners of LockerSpace. It's a family business. There's myself and my wife Ruth and Lucy, my daughter. We provided our services to education in schools and colleges for the last probably 15, 20 years through security and through facilities management. And we saw a need for lockers originally, and we ended up supplying lockers to schools, and parents rent them online. But then along came the smartphones. We realised that they needed their own separate solution. They couldn't just be stored away on the lockers because kids just didn't want to do that. And this is why we looked at providing phone pouches alongside the lockers as well, where they could be purchased by the school. And basically, it's a way, if you like, that they can go to school and the phone automatically switches off, and then it automatically switches off, in a sense, once it's in the pouch, and then you get a digital detox all day for the students. And
so we'll come and look at the product and things like that in a moment, Dave. But I think you're definitely ahead of the bell curve with that. So thank you for both introducing yourselves to everybody. I can see our viewer stats are going very high. Pat, thank you for being brave enough to say hello in the chat box. Everybody else, you're only going to get one chance. So let me know where you're watching from. Right, let's pop this slide back up, everybody. And let's just go through a couple of facts here on the screen. And Dave and Jamie, feel free to just chip in with some thoughts. And would you agree with this statement? Mobile phones one of the biggest distractions in school today, Jamie?
The
number
biggest
one distraction. There you go.
Yes.
And
they were in our school.
They were, and they were. Okay, so that's an important difference. Dave, from your perspective of working with schools all over the country, what's your sense and what messages you're hearing from school leaders?
Initially, before the pouches were introduced to the schools, it's everything which you could think of that could be bad about the way they affect kids, affect students, affect learning, affect the school, just in every bad way. There is no, obviously, any positives that we were getting back from any school. And I was actually witnessing when we were installing lockers in schools and behaviour from some students who were, like it was an addiction to, you were witnessing an addiction to the device. If they were caught with it, and they were threatened to have it removed from them, and it was actually sad to see. So without a shadow of a doubt, dealing with schools all these years, the mobile phones, psychologically, physically, and everything about them.
Yeah, I mean, the research is in abundance now. I'm going to come off the slide and show you a piece of research. I guess now we are a lot more savvy with mobile phone use the last 20 years. There's lots of research that says mobile phones can benefit X, Y, Z, and technology and use for specific purposes and things like that. But I would say there's heaps of evidence that it actually does a lot of negative stuff. So let me come off the slide, and I'm just going to signpost this on the website here for you. A blog title, Using Mobile Phones Hinders Academic Research. This research was published about 6 years ago. And what we've got here in this graphic here is a piece of evidence to say, we're looking at students' use about 100 minutes, something I quoted at the start of the research, that they can lose quite a significant number of kind of academic points, so to speak. So you can dig that up and read that in a little bit more detail after this session. But if I just pop back to the slideshow, gents. Jamie, can I come to you first? Let's talk about exam results in your school or students' behaviour, some type of outcome before and after you use LockerSpace. What kind of sound bites can you give us?
We had a couple of issues. One with relation to teaching and learning, the feedback from staff in classrooms that students' attention span was just way too short. They could hear the phones vibrating in their pockets, to what point I actually did an experiment in one of my business lessons. And I said, right, guys, turn your phones on loud. And we're going to tally chart the amount of notifications you get in an hour. So I had 24 students. And I think we averaged over 300 notifications in 1 hour. Which was astronomical. And I'm saying to them, this is the reason why you guys can't focus, because you're constantly trying to look at your phone. And to points, even when students say, so I didn't look at my phone. I'm like, you did. I watched you look at your phone, and they don't even realize they're doing it. It's that habitual effects now on them.
So that bullet
worrying.
That's a really, I mean, I've become obsessed with a bit of education research, but, doing that kind of research in your classroom, anecdotally, I suppose, and then actually, tallying up the number of distractions. That's quite astonishing. 300 notifications in excess. From
it was quite powerful.
One single lesson?
One lesson, 55 minutes, ballpark figure.
Right.
I mean, it's powerful. And I shared that with the parents, and that was one of the ways that I got across to the parents and sold the reason why we had to do what we had to do. So it
Dave,
wasn't just in the classroom as well. It was also behaviour around the school. We had issues with students filming fights in and out of school, the social media bullying.
Right.
So we knew we had to deal with that problem.
Dave, have you got any thoughts on these two, bullet point 2 and 3 on the screen?
Yeah, I could totally agree that these figures are factual. It fits in with everything that you see from different schools around the world, not just
have you heard
UK.
from schools that have said they can act like Jamie said here? Your other school users, are they saying the same kind of results? You know, that things are improving and outcomes.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. With that comments like it's great to have our students back. Focus is back in school. If you tried to take them away from them, I think you'd have the same reverse addiction. If you just suddenly took the pouches out of the schools and they had to go back to managing the phones, the schools wouldn't want it. We've not had it. I always get asked as well, does any pushback from anybody, the parents, anybody? And there isn't any pushback. I think we're all on the same song sheet that we want to make sure that the kids are protected and during the day as well from their phones.
Yeah. And Jamie, could you give us a kind of flavour of life before and after LockerSpace?
But before, it was probably what's happening in a lot of the viewers' schools at the moment, with the students hiding on their phones, avoiding lessons, being in the toilets more and more because they're sitting on their phones. And we basically just had students not there, lights on but nobody home, so to speak, for a lot of our students.
Right.
And it was really hard to deliver a 60-minute lesson, even if it was engaging. Their attention was elsewhere, unfortunately, and it's because of the addiction to their mobile phones. And since we transitioned over to LockerSpace with the pouch solution, I'll give you a great example. I had a year 11 student in my office the other day, and she came in to me and said, "Mr. Howard, thank you." And I said, "Lily, why are you saying thank you?" And she goes, "Because you stopped my addiction to my mobile phone to the point I don't even want to bring it into school now."
Right, amazing.
And I just went, and she's not your top student. She's one of the ones that's quite challenging. And I just went, "Lily, that's a really mature thing to say. And I'm glad that we've worked on reducing that addiction." And she said, "It's helped me revise, get into her lessons on time, not wanting to go to the toilet all the time in between lessons and during lessons."
That must make you quite proud.
Yeah, it did. Yeah. It did, because we're having that impact. And that's what we get into education for, is having that impact on our students.
Sure. Right, let's move on, everyone. So quick shout out to JC who's watching in, JC Reese who's watching in Mumbai. Thank you. Look, an international audience. Keep your comments coming in. So let me just put a couple of ideas up here why teachers and schools need to take action. I guess we're explicitly talking about secondary schools, state schools, some independent, I'm sure, who want to also tackle these issues in our schools too. Primary schools in some respects, but how do we enforce phone-free policies without conflict? These are some of the things we're going to discuss. How can we improve that consistency around the school? And how do we do it practically? So we're going to talk about the pouches now, but we're not going to show them just yet. I'm going to ask Dave to come in, and I've just got a few bullet points here, Dave, that I can just give you as a little nudge. But you're the expert. They're your devices and you created them. But if I just put them on here, just tell us how they work before we show them a physical object.
Yeah, they work same as a Faraday pouch, and they block signals. So when the phone's placed in the pouch and locked shut, doesn't matter. Anybody tries to ring the phone, a message, a ping, anything, it's dead. The phone is dead. It's completely off the network, and it's also locked as well, and can only be opened a special locking station, which is certain magnetic strength, which then opens the pouch. It's controlled by the school. They can put them wherever they want, and also they can be opened up at different times of the days for emergencies with handheld devices. And so they're very, very
simple and effective.
Simple, very simple. They're made from neoprene, which is same as diving suit, which it can be easily hand washed. So, and also the locking system is the same as DS shoplifting tags. But it's just in touch, instead of having, you see them struggle at the tills sometimes trying to get the tags off of the clothes.
That's right.
This is different. This is just a one touch. It is basically lightning fast.
Right.
There's never any kid. I'm sure
Jamie, yeah, well, I'm trying not to get mine on the desk and share everyone just yet. But Jamie, tell me what you've done with the kind of lock-in stations around the school. Where have you positioned them, and how do students use them? Is it now an automatic thing that students do at the start of the day, break time, lunchtime? How does it work?
Yeah, so I'm big with my routines, particularly at the start and end of every lesson. So at the start of the day, we don't have them at the front of our school because the way that our students come in, they're bussed in. It's a narrow entrance. So we put the lock boxes in every classroom. So students line up outside tutor. They get their phone pouches out. We get their uniform checked because we have tutor first thing in the day. They walk in. The teacher unlocks the mag box and they tap, lock it, teacher checks, and they go through and it's done within 2 minutes. And the students are then looking at the whiteboard, seeing the notices for the day, learning kit out, ready to go. No phones now, no distractions during the school day.
And is it off all day?
All day until 3:05 when our bell goes and students go home. End of the day, students stand behind their desk in silence, chairs up, and then,
in the room.
And then they're dismissed calmly, row by row. So we don't have students trying to truant period 5. We don't have them trying to leave lessons early.
My question was, where do they unlock their pouch?
On their way out. So in every classroom in
our
our school, yeah. So we didn't want to put them at the front of our school because we felt from a safety perspective, some schools have a nice atrium entrance. We don't. I also didn't want to put it at the front of the school on handhelds for staff because I was thinking well-being for staff. We don't need our staff out at 7:45 when students arrive. I want them. I trust them on their phones in the morning. They're losing it from 8:45 to 3:05. So our tutors were doing it. Forms part of that routine.
I was a well-behaved kid at school. I'm sure you've got one or two cheeky ones that run up to the front or behind the teacher's back and tap out. And
they can't. They can't because they're locked. And under my instruction to staff and the way that I trained my staff members is until they hear that bell, they don't open that lockbox. And they don't let the students go until they're happy that they're calm, and they'll let them go row by row. And it takes, I think on day one, when we did it on September 3rd this year, it took 45 seconds to get an entire class out, tapped out, locked, put in their bag, walking home.
Okay. So it sounds fantastic. And Jamie, gives a good flavour of parental attitudes before and after.
Yeah, so before, so we put it to our governors first thing and put it to teachers. Dave sent over a load of pouches for me to trial it with staff to get their feedback because I feel like you need to get the whole staffing body on board with the process and the governors too. I shared it with parents. I told them what we're planning on doing. Those that weren't happy, I invited them into a meeting and said, look, this is what we're doing. Showed them how it works. And they went, okay, fair enough. Yeah, you can use it. The safeguarding concerns are what happens if there's something going on in school. I showed them with a bit of strength. It can be ripped open in an emergency. But I said, if you do that, little Jimmy, you'll be buying a new one. And the parent said, no, little Jimmy won't be doing that unless it's an emergency.
Yeah.
And
I've got a comment here from Becky at the bottom there. My son's school uses the pouches and they work really well. So there's a fantastic endorsement. Yeah. I wish my son's school had the pouches too. So thank you, Becky, for that comment and watching. Let us know where you're watching from, please, just so we can locate you somewhere in the UK. Thank you, Becky. Right, Dave, I think it's time. Jamie, have you got a device on your desk, or is it me?
I don't. I'm at home. They're in my office and dotted around my school.
Of course, yeah. Right, Dave, over to you. Me and Jamie are just going to lurk behind the scenes while you just go through a little simple demonstration, and then I'll try and have a go publicly as well.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
Well, this is a pouch. This is our LockerSpace branded pouches, and the actual patent is held by our distributor called Phone Locker, and they can be customed on the front. You can have the design of the school logo. You can have a name box, so that's responsibility for the child. They've got ownership of it. So if it is damaged, you know whose pouch it is, and you simply place the pouch inside. And then you tap it on an unlocking station to open it. That's then opened. And as you can see by the device popping out there at the top, that means that it's not locked. It has to be inside to be locked. And then when popped on again, that's it. It's opening. It's that fast. And these little magnets can either be in handheld paddles or they can be in wall boxes, as Jamie's just saying. And it is just basically a touch. Right, they come in Pantone colours.
Lots of colours.
Yeah, they come in Pantone colours to match every school uniform going or colours, and that's all included as part of the service. So it's part of the uniform. in some schools.
Right, brilliant. So we'll come to the details about uniforms and discount codes and things like that. Thank you, Dave. Right, so I've got my device here. I'm going to hold it a bit higher. Hopefully it's not too bad. I'm going to ask Dave for a teacher toolkit version after the session. And I would have mine logged against my wall, so I'm not getting distracted when I'm at my desk here. But just to hold it up so you can see. So this might be at the school gates, or as in Jamie's case, one in every classroom. Screwed. It's very, very heavy. I'm sure Dave will tell us the exact weight, but you wouldn't want to get this hit on your head. It's quite a heavy piece of device. So you can see how easy that literally unlocks the device. Here's another red Teacher Toolkit branded phone, and then it goes to the pouch just like so, and then it's locked, and that is it. And I guess over time Dave will tell us about all the science inside, but that will block the signal. It'll mute any notifications and things like that. And all I need to do, I'm going to check that I've got the right side. There it is, and it pops back out, and then you get your phone back out the pouch. So, Dave, how did my demonstration go?
That was actually very good. Yeah,
right.
Would you like a job?
Yeah, good. Now, I suspect, Jamie, the kids in your school can do it in less than a second, can't they? But
they're so used to it now. Like, it's just, you would have thought, I know a lot of teachers would be sat here and thinking, my student won't do that. Now, I've got many students from different backgrounds, including some really challenging backgrounds, and they're all signed up. They're all on board now. They all do it. It's part of their routine. They've just cracked on now, and that happened. We did have some kickback. We dealt with it, and there's no issues now. Literally none.
Good. So I can see lots of comments coming through. Becky is in Great Yarmouth, so thank you, Becky, who said her son uses the pouches and they work really well. Becky, if I could push you for another comment, what difference have you seen with your son's attitude to school, to learning, to sleep, those kind of things? That comment would be really, really helpful. So we've got on the screen here, I guess, a summary. You've got the little visual here at the bottom. You know, the students place the phones in a secure pouch, start of the day. I guess your school's discretion would decide as and when they would open them. It's got that magnetic lock. David, did you say Faraday inside or something? What's the material that blocks the signal?
I don't know the name of the material, but it's the same as the Faraday principle, that it blocks magnetic singles. I think that's a secret, and it's painted within the material of the lining inside. They do come non-signal blocking, but nobody's asked for any of those today.
Right. Okay. So I guess so you can get two choices, but I guess most schools are wanting the blocking feature too.
Yeah.
So
the worst thing would be putting them on the desk, and then the phone goes off, and they have to rush it up in a box and get it open. So that
we have like Jamie with 300 notifications again, and all the kids in pouches and non-stop. So we want the blocking technology, I guess, in there to make it all work. So
what you do find, sorry to jump in, Ross, is students turn their phones off. They just turn them off now at the start of the day because they know they're not getting signal. They don't want to waste their battery. So just
of course, like normal procedure, should there be an emergency? So my son was sent home on Monday. He was doing something he shouldn't have been doing, and he got concussion and delayed concussion. So he was sent home from school. And I guess, like in any emergency, the school notifies the parents, and no mobile phone was needed. So there's your solution, everybody. Let the school contact the parents. Right. I've got, Dave, for you on here, on this next slide, just some key features and things like that. So you got another couple of nice pictures here of the station on the brick wall. Dave, what's this device in the top right-hand corner? Is that actually another type of unlocking tool?
Yeah, that's a paddle, a mobile paddle, which schools use in corridors or emergencies or on school trips as well.
Right, so you can hold it and unlock the device on the move.
Yeah, I've got one here, and very light. Yeah, and again, it's the same magnet that's inside, and they're not powered. I do get asked quite a lot, does it need batteries, and are they powered? No, it just works off the gauge of the magnet. It has a set frequency which will allow the pouch to open. So there is no batteries, and you can put them anywhere externally or internally throughout the building. Okay,
fantastic. So I guess myself on my break duty as a deputy head, I'd be carrying one of them around the school, I'm sure. You mentioned that lots of schools customize. there are logos and things. Jamie, what did you do in your school for the pouches?
Yeah, we kept them black just for the pure simple. If we want them to last 5 years, I didn't want them to look quite dirty at the end of year 5. And as Dave said, they're easy to be wiped down. So we've been using them now almost a year, whole school year. And yeah, they're still looking pretty good, unless you know that the kids have literally thrown them in the mud.
So school logo on it and that kind of stuff, yeah?
Yeah, school logos on there on one side. They come in different sizes as well. I think Dave needs to emphasize, because some students have the lovely iPhone XL. There's a larger one, but majority of our students' phones fit in this smaller pouch.
And Dave, do they keep those instructions on them the back, or can people put what they want on the back?
No, the instructions are there. That's universal.
Right.
So and just on the front, like Jamie says, it can be anything that you want. It can be the school logo, it could be a name. Some schools have actually got 4 squares, and they control it by numbers allocated to a student, which is for sustainability. So there's that choice as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've got this comment from Becky. Thank you, Becky. Some days he'll forget to take his phone with him, and he's not bothered about it being at home. So again, there's another victory there. Thank you so much, Becky. It's pleased to see what impact that is having. Fingers crossed for good academic outcomes, lots of good night's sleep and things like that. So we've got nearly 500 people watching live and growing. We're going to wrap things up in the next 10 minutes. Let's just put these key features back on the screen. Dave, is there anything that you want to mention that we haven't talked about yet? It's not a trick question. It's not a trick question.
Just going back to when we first introduced the pouches, we're quite we're not Generation Z, so we didn't understand. It's not just people using the phones; it's how they use them. And something that was told to me the other week was that they noticed at some of the schools that the girls had started eating again, that they were eating more.
Yeah.
And I asked, can you explain that to me? He says, well, what happening when they were eating during the lunchtime is they'd take photographs of their eating face and post them online. So the phones are not just used, they're actually used as a tool for bullying. So that's just going back to, other reasons to have the devices in the pouches. It's for lunch breaks and things like that.
Yeah, I remember you shared the kind of post with me, and it was quite an important reminder about all the things that we take for granted that mobile phones capture. So when they're away, how it might change or influence our behaviour, especially for our young people. Jamie, I'm going to bring you in here. So look, I've got some benefits for schools here. Just tell me 1 or 2 that resonate with you. So fewer classroom disruptions, improved concentration, cyberbullying, isolation. Stronger relationships, and your school policy. So which one stands out for you?
I think the big thing is for teachers, it allows teachers to teach without the distraction. It improves behaviour, which therefore has a knock-on impact with teaching and learning in your classroom, because there's less behaviour issues. Once the addiction tends to wean off, which we found was a couple of weeks in September, it does take a little time. You might find it a little bit hard in the first couple of weeks. Normally they're the nicest weeks of the year, but they were still great, but you could tell the students had that little addiction to the devices, but also the issues at social time. We now walk around, we see students socializing again. We've never allowed phones to be used at break or lunch times. We knew you could see from afar, but trying to police that and go around and take probably, I would guess, 200 phones, like you said, is relentless. So it's massively resolved that issue. We've had less social issues. Break times are calmer, lunch times are calmer, less fights, less social media issues for our pastoral team, which is improving teacher well-being.
Remind me how long you've been using them for now.
I had Dave come over this time probably last year to give me some samples. And we went live in September 2024 for the new academic year.
So new exciting journey, and already seeing the immediate impact.
Yep.
So there you go, folks. Right, we're going to wrap things up with some costs and technical things. So I've left a prompt here on the screen. Whatever platform you're watching, now's your chance to, if you don't want to ask a technical question, you might want to just for fun, just to let us know where you're watching from. There's lots of you watching. I've got another comment here from Becky I'll put on the screen shortly, but I'm going to start to talk about those important questions, costs and logistics and things like that. And I'm going to bring Dave in to answer some of those questions. One more from Becky here, who's been very helpful with lots of comments here. Her son's focused on his lessons and engaged with learning his peers and his teachers. So again, It's another victory for teaching and learning and for behaviour. Dave, the big question teachers and school leaders are watching are, can I get a free kit, or can I have a sample, or can you come and visit us, or something like that, and costs. So before I share a screen with that kind of detail, if someone wanted a demo kit, what's the procedure?
You just need to fill in the form, I believe, on your website, or go to our website and fill in the form and let us know where they are and how many pouches they're looking at, and we'll speak to each person individually. And if we need to send out samples, we'll do that. We've got some great offers on at the moment as well, such as free magnetic stations and also shipping throughout the month of May. I'm just
going to put a code on the screen here. Dave's given me a code that I can share, which is TTKWeb. Let me just put my slides back up here, and we'll go to the cost, Dave. So give us a breakdown. So this discount code there, everyone. I'll put a QR code up in a moment. Give us a breakdown of cost. So Jamie's school's got 1,200 kids. Give us a rough summary.
I think Jamie's school paid a bit less because they got 1,200, but that is the middle price is 12 quid. The range between 14 quid and 10 quid, depending on how much bulk there is, how much bulk of order. So that works at about £2, as you've put there. That works at about, if you base it over the 5 years, that's students' lifetime, but then it's £2.20 per student per year. It's it's ridiculously cheap.
Good value. I'm just clarifying, quid for anyone watching internationally. Dave means pounds here, so £12 per pouch and £2.20 for students. So really good value. And what about kind of payment plans? How does it work in terms of a school if they wanted to get these devices next month or ready for September?
Yeah, we work with a third-party leasing company, and we've got a facility in place where they can be leased, which we'd put you in touch with the leasing company, and you can spread these costs over 3 or 5 years, which brings it down even less.
So really nice. And Jamie, is it okay for me to ask what kind of setup you've gone for at your school?
Yeah, we basically asked the parents to make a voluntary contribution towards this. And I'm pleased to say that despite having 1,200 students, it's cost the school a grand total, I think, of £0. I think I'm close to. So it's cost us nothing as a school. And I know budgets are tight and that is a concern. So we've worked with our parents, and it's how we sold the message, which is how we got them to contribute towards the pouches.
So that's an incredible achievement. So parental contributions means the school's paid £0. I think that's a real credit to you, Jamie, and your staff at your school to do that. So well done. There's a QR code here on the screen, everyone. You can zap that with your mobile phone. There's the discount code, and there is the hyperlink. Sign up there, and Dave will be in touch. Dave, you're going to be in touch with everybody first thing in the morning, aren't you?
Yes, definitely.
And
we've got a free phone number on the website as well if you want to.
And can you give us a sense of a lead-in time? How quickly can schools? Well, I'm assuming people can get a sample sometime next week after the bank holiday weekend.
Yeah. Samples will be shipped out straight away. The actual lead time for the actual pouches, if the blank pouches, we have those in stock. But if you want them branded, I can take anything from 5 to 7 weeks to get back from approval of the artwork, which is free, to delivery, about 7 weeks. So you need to get
so I guess after half term, schools will need to be starting to get their act together if they want to see the samples before the summer holiday.
We were actually delivering and installing the boxes, because we provide that as a service as well, all right up until September, because people just wanted to put their orders in and they were willing to wait. We said we had the cut-off period of, I think it was going to be July. We ended up going up to the end of July to take the orders in.
Right, okay.
Try and
Jamie, can you give anyone, any teachers and schools watching, any words of advice in terms of that process, the logistics that you needed to get involved with to make sure that everything was ready to go for September?
Yeah, so like I said, you have to get the different stakeholders involved, governors, SLT, if you're not on SLT, the parents. I think you've got to get everybody on board, and I think that's why it was important to, in a staff briefing, get them to trial it, show you how it works, practice and demo what you want to do. And then just work with Dave. I had other companies I got in touch with, and none of them were personal like Dave. I was messaging him back and forth, and we we had everything set up, ready to go in mid-August. He was in the school. I come over to the school to see him installing the boxes, and a credit to Dave and the team, because he's saying to me, sorry, Jay, I've got to go because I've got another job two hours away, and he was working for the night. So no, credit to LockerSpace for everything they've done and set up.
Thanks, Jimmy.
So there you go. So fantastic. Dave, can I give you an opportunity for any final comments before I wrap things up? Unless we've got any questions from our watchers. There's lots of you, but you've been very quiet on the chat box tonight. Dave, any final thoughts?
Yeah, well, as Jamie said, money's tight, and if there's anything you want to make an investment that's going to improve your school and improve the life of your students for learning and everything across the board, it's a good choice. Jamie was kindly come on tonight and say some great things, but we have a lot of other schools that have got them, and the feedback is always positive. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I'd like to say. I'd like to say there isn't negatives, but I don't think there is many.
Digging hard to try and find one or two. Jamie, could you think of anything?
The negatives of students, I can go and spend hours talking about this. And if you want to come and visit my school, we're in South Buckinghamshire, Chalfonts Community College. Ross, can I put my email? Do you want to put my email in the chat, or do you want me to say it out loud?
This video is on YouTube, so at the end of the session, I'll stick in your contact details in the footage to watch. Just for a sense of balance, I've got one provocation here from Olivia on LinkedIn. Mobile phone free schools are great as long as the school accompanies them with appropriate digital literacy. Otherwise, it's just a sticking plaster over the problem. What final thought, Dave? Final thought, Jamie?
Yeah, we provide a policy template for including the smartphones into the school's phone policy. We've put this together through feedback from the schools we've dealt with so far. So if any school wants any assistance with a phone policy to include the pouches, we're here to assist with that as well. Okay.
Jamie, any thoughts? Digital literacy? How do you approach it across your school?
We teach it in personal development around it. We still use Google Classroom. We still have Chromebooks in school. Students are still going to use their smart devices, and they're probably going to be smarter than teachers how to use those devices. So they're still going to be digitally literate. It's just this is something for well-being for those students and for their mental well-being in the long term.
I guess for me, it's a jigsaw of the entire package. Teaching young people how to use devices correctly, and where and when to focus and where and when not to focus and play with devices and things like that. Can I both thank you for your time, and to everybody watching, internationally, Dubai, Mumbai, the Wirral with Pat. And I think Becky was in Great Yarmouth, so I'm sure everyone here in the UK has been enjoying the sun for the last couple of days. Thank you, gents, for your time. Please stay on the line while I just wrap things up. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Here's the device. Really simple technology. That's on the wall in your classroom or on your school gates. Every student gets a pouch. They put their phone inside the pouch. Here we go. Just trying to do all this on my desk here. Phone inside. And they lock their pouch. Really easy, just a click of a button, which is there. I put my pouch right in, like so. And then they tap out on the device at the end of the day. It pops back out and they take their phone away. So you've got the QR code here on the screen. You've got the discount code, the white web link, all the things you need. You heard from Jamie. They managed to get enough parental contributions in a very busy, comprehensive school in Buckinghamshire, and there was no cost to the student. Research suggests that phone-free school environments contribute to better student engagement, reduced anxiety for our young people, and improved academic outcomes. And in a world of post-pandemic, what's not to like about those key headlines? LockerSpace is going to help. I predict it is a piece of technology that kind of early days of a bell curve or revolution happening in our secondary schools as we deal with how we can help our young people manage social media. Thank you to everybody watching. There's still a huge number of 100 people's, good 500 plus still watching. This video is going to be on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, on the Teacher Toolkit channels. If you want to get in touch, get this free demo kit from Dave, that QR code here, sign it, grab it if you miss it on this YouTube video. Use the code and get in the queue, because I suspect Dave's going to be really busy. It gets a big thumbs up from me. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention, and have a lovely evening. Bye for now.